Welcome back, everybody, to the Cleveland Cavaliers MyLeague here on NBA2K21. As today, we've got a very jam-packed episode for everyone, so get your popcorn ready, because it's going to be a fun one. Got All-Star festivities today. We also are going to kick off the second half of the season, and we have a prospect profile. Going to look at some of the players in this year's draft. In one of the previous episodes earlier on in the series, we did a prospect profile for all of the guards in this year's draft class, and today we will be going over the wings. We did already go over shooting guards previously, so we won't touch them, but mainly looking at small forwards as well as power forwards who aren't traditional bigs. So in this draft class, we have 2 first-round picks. We have our top pick, which is the better of our selection and Houston's pick. And it looks like that'll probably be the Rockets because they are surprisingly a lot worse than us. And then we also just traded for the Atlanta Hawks pick during the trade deadline. That's probably going to be high 20s. So it looks like we're going to have 2 picks in this draft. Hopefully one in the top 5 and then one likely in the early 20s. So we have a chance to get 2 impact players in this draft class. And in today's episode, we could be very well looking at some of the important future pieces of this Cleveland Cavaliers roster. So just be prepared because you may see some of these names again, and maybe you'll see some of these players in Cavalier jerseys if we like them enough. We're going to start with the small forwards first, and it's not a very deep small forward class. There are quite a few lottery projected players, but after that there is a fairly big drop. And I only expect 5 or 6 to get drafted, but I do like a lot of the small forwards in this year's draft. We're going to start with Jaden Kenson out of USC. Kenson is one of the top prospects in this draft, a projected top 5 selection. He has phenomenal versatility on the defensive end of the floor. At 6'8", he has a 7'2" wingspan. He has a great ability to defend on the perimeter as well as the outside. He's great inside as a scorer, and his ceiling is arguably higher than any player in this entire draft. He does need to get consistent when it comes to scoring the basketball, and his turnover to assist ratio is less than 1. That means he averages more turnovers per game than assists, and that's something he needs to clean up. Kenson has to be a smarter decision maker, but the upside is outstanding. Now we're going to take a look at Cedric Garrett from the University of Arizona. In the Jaguars franchise, you may know quarterback Preston Garrett, who was recently drafted by the Minnesota Vikings out of UCLA. Well, this is Preston's younger brother in Cedric. Cedric Garrett is one of the top scorers in this draft. He can score inside and out. He's a very safe prospect, has a lot of similarities to Paul George. I know recency bias will tell you that Paul George is not good, but you can't get distracted from the pandemic P. Paul George is an all-star level player. The other lottery projected small forward in this year's draft class is Duke's Artravius Exum. At 6'8", he has a 7'1" wingspan and has phenomenal vision on the floor. He's a great playmaker. He's a really good passer for his size, and I think he has the upside to facilitate an offense at the next level. I view him as a less dominant Ben Simmons who can shoot the basketball. He's good defensively, however, he does not have a great three-point shot. And I think he does need to be a little bit polished, but I think Artravius Exum is a really intriguing basketball player. Next up, we're going to look at Preston Stallings out of Florida State. He might be a little bit more of a shooting guard. He only stands at 6'5", 6'10" wingspan, so he has pretty good length. He is a sophomore for the Seminoles. Let's take a look at his dunk real quick. Beautiful play by Stallings, but he has shown dramatic improvement from his freshman to his sophomore season, as you can tell by the numbers. His shooting percentages have skyrocketed as well. Even with higher volume, the efficiency has soared up. He's a good defensive player. However, he is likely more of a 2-guard in the NBA, and he does not have a whole lot of defensive versatility, so I think he's going to be limited to the perimeter. The final small forward we're going to be looking at is one of my favorite gems in this class. Probably going to be an early second-round pick, but I think he has lottery talent, and that's Isaiah Thomas out of Auburn. Thomas has an extremely high floor. He's a very safe pick, and I'm sure he will be a role player in this league. He has also shown strong improvements from freshman to sophomore season. He's an efficient scorer. However, he does not have phenomenal athleticism, and he is a little bit sloppy defensively. So now looking at the power forward position, some of these guys are more prototypical big men, but some of these guys I think have the versatility to play on the perimeter as well as inside. So those are the types of players we will be looking at today, with the first one being Illinois' Keaton Reddish. Reddish is the top projected power forward. He's probably going to be a top 10 pick. I think there's a lot to like with Reddish. He's one of the top scorers in the draft, averaging over 16 points per game as a freshman for the Fighting Illini. Stands at 6'10 with a 7'4 wingspan. He has traits of the modern-day NBA player, but he also has the size, frame, and some traits of the old-school player. He's very good on the perimeter, but he also is really solid inside, and that gives him versatility. I think his only major weakness is perimeter defense. He's not super strong there, I will say, nor does he have great athleticism, but other than that, I really like him. A beautiful dunk right there by Texas Tech's Brandon Bentley Barrows. Triple B's, that's the next player we're going to be talking about. Look at this pull-up three. Now, Brandon has a terrible jump shot. To put it lightly, he cannot shoot the basketball. That play was an anomaly. But he plays big. He has excellent size. He can go inside, excellent inside offensively. He's a really good defensive player, and he is a liability on offense, but if he can clean up on the offensive side of the floor, he's going to be really good. The final two players we're going to be looking at are a pair of international prospects, starting with Ajak Akwegbu from Sudan. He is currently playing for Orangeville Prep in Ontario, Canada. This is the same prep school that Fawn Maker played for before he entered the draft around 5 years ago. I don't think Akwegbu will get picked as high as Fawn Maker. However, Akwegbu has a ton of upside. He's super raw, and I don't think he will provide great NBA minutes day one. But I think he has the chance to be a stud. The final player we're going to be looking at from Croatia is Dorijan Božić. He's currently playing for KK Crvena Zvezda, I hope I said that right, in the EuroLeague. As an 18-year-old, he really holds his own against grown men who are professional basketball players. He has a nice shooting stroke, and he has a great understanding from the game at a young age. However, he is under contract for another 2 seasons, so I don't think he will enter the NBA for a little bit longer. So that'll do it for the prospect profile. Now time to talk about the current Cavaliers. Last episode was the trade deadline. Obviously, Kevin Love was traded to the Atlanta Hawks, along with Dylan Windler, Trey Lyles, and some throw-ins for Cam Reddish, Chris Dunn, the Hawks' first-round pick this year, and some throw-ins. So, a blockbuster trade there, to say the least. The Hawks are really gearing up for a playoff run by adding Kevin Love, and maybe they don't want to pay John Collins long-term. For us, we get younger, we get a developmental prospect in Cam Reddish, and we get a draft pick. So here's a look at the stats. We do have an all-star in center Andre Drummond, whose numbers are worse than some of the seasons he had in Detroit. But hey, when you get an all-star, you'll take it. But I actually don't think it is good for us that Drummond made the all-star game, because he is a free agent this offseason, and him being an all-star is going to make him want more money. I imagine his asking price will be no less than a maximum contract, and I don't think Andre Drummond is worth a max contract. To be fair, I don't think anybody in their right mind would pay him a max contract, so at least there's that. So here's a look at the Rising Stars rosters for Teams USA versus the Team World. We have 2 players in this game, Kevin Porter Jr. and Obi Toppin, both of whom will be representing the American team. I will say this World squad isn't super star-studded. I'd say their best players are probably Rui Hachimura, Brandon Clark, and Deni Avdija. I mean, those are 3 good young players, but I mean, Team USA has guys like Zion Williamson, John Morant, Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, and Team USA ends up winning by 31 points. Ja with 22 and 11, Zion with 20 and 13, Wiseman with a double-double, Kevin Porter Jr. with 10 points, and Obi Toppin 9 points, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds. Nearly a triple-double. Deni Avdija leads the world team with 25 points in the loss. So now on to the dunk contest in the three-point contest. The dunk contest is Zion Williamson, John Morant, John Collins, and Miles Bridges. I would pay good money to watch this dunk contest. Zion and Ja, that would be sick. The three-point contest has a lot of stars, which you don't normally see. Luka Doncic, Damian Lillard, Kemba Walker, Devin Booker, Paul George, and Buddy Hield. So 5 all-star caliber players and Paul George. Okay, I'm joking. Paul George is definitely an all-star caliber player. But can I just point out that Luka is shooting 47% from 3? Like, he's a demigod. He's literally a unicorn on the court. I don't know if Luka just shot 47% from 3 on very high volume, the NBA would be broken. It would be done for. So Booker wins the 3-point contest, Morant wins the dunk contest, and Team Giannis, which does include Andre Drummond, ends up winning the All-Star game with a fourth quarter comeback. Drummond was fairly quiet for the most part. Kemba Walker led Team Steph in scoring, although he's probably the worst player on the roster. No offense to Kemba, great player, but yeah, good for him, I guess. So we would do some simming. We'd sim our next 5 games, going 2-3. And unfortunately, we are no longer the 8th seed. Well, not entirely, as the Pacers have now tied us. And look who we got next on our schedule, the Indiana Pacers. There's Colin Sexton and Andre Drummond walking onto the floor. I can't be the only one that noticed that Colin Sexton and Andre Drummond were the exact same height there, when in actuality Sexton is 6'1 and Drummond is 6'10. Oh well, it is what it is. Here's a look at the starting lineups for the Cavs. It'll be Sexton, Porter, Grant, Toppin, and Drummond. Now that Jeremy Grant is healthy, this Cavs team is fully healthy for the first time in a while as we start the game off with a bang. Kevin Porter Jr. with the slam. We're tied up at 2 early. Jeremy Grant now from deep. He gets the 3-ball to toilet roll in. Cavs looking good early as it's 7-2. Look at Victor Oladipo with the slam. Oladipo is a free agent this offseason. Many rumors suggest that he will not return to Indiana. As Obi Toppin with the slam, 11-8. Here's Kevin Porter Jr. Pump fakes over to Colin Sexton. Green bean machine. Sexton doubles the lead as it is now 14-8. TJ Warren double team, passes it out for Domantas Sabonis, who misses it. Miles Turner with the rebound, grabbing the board over Colin Sexton, who's like 10 inches shorter. Turner would get the putback. Bad defense by Azubuike. 16-10 now. There's good defense by Udoka. Azubuike, a rookie out of Kansas. Cam Reddish now wide open for 3, no good, but Chris Dunn gets the board and the putback as the Cavs now lead at 18-10. Cleveland's been really good defensively so far, and offensively they're holding their own as the Pacers get the steal. Here's Justice Winslow on the transition mission, getting the layup to fall. 14-20 now. Dunn gonna pass it out for Bam Bam Cam. It's Cam Reddish to Dunn. Back to Reddish. They're playing hot potato as Reddish connects from deep. 24-27 now. Late in the first, it's Cedi Osman with the bucket. 6 points here in the first quarter for Osman. And the Cavs now are up by 5. That would change quickly as Goga Bitadze, the second-year pro out of the Republic of Georgia, with the and 1. And just like that, it's a 2-point game. Here's Cam Reddish, top of the key, step back. Going to try to extend the Cavs' lead. He does not get it off in time, and it didn't go in regardless. Cleveland up by 2-1. The Pacers did gain some momentum down the stretch in that quarter as we moved to the second. Quick slam for Colin Sexton. Game tied at 33 now. Pacers trying to take their first lead of the day. They would do just that as TJ Warren gets the mid-ranger to fall. 37-35 now. Sexton, tough layup in contact, and it goes in. Sexton, the leading scorer for the Cavs this season, averaging around 20 a night. Nice 3 from the Pacers as it's a back-and-forth affair right now. Sexton with the slam. His second dunk at the quarter. I mean, he's a smaller guard, but he can get up there. Brogdon misses. Drummond with the board. Good defense by Cleveland. Jeremy Grant looking like Patrick Mahomes on that pass. And then Obi Toppin would get it from Kevin Porter Jr. for 3. Cavs now up by 1, 42-43. As here is Dougie McBuckets. Doug McDermott with it. We know he can let it fly. He's going to try to drive inside. The floater is no good, but Justice Winslow gets it back. He's blocked. Passes it back out for Dougie McBuckets, who gets the layup. 46-45 now. Garland going to pass it out for Cedi Osman. Tough layup would go. And the Cavs are now up by 1. Pacers have it with a minute and a half to go here in the first half as Turner Guarded by Azubuike. Inside, and he's denied. Azubuike says, not in my house, kiddo. Garland over to Cameron Reddish. Inside for the and one. Excellent layup by Reddish, who's had a pretty good first half so far, I can't lie. Cameron Reddish is playing well tonight. 46-50, Azubuike again with a great defensive play. Reddish with a board over to Azubuike, to Dunn, to Osman, to Garland. Everybody touched for rock on that play as Garland gets the three. Phenomenal ball movement by the Cavs as Cedi Osman gets the layup. Cleveland up by 7. An excellent end of the first half for the Cavs as Garland to Dunn. Dunn going to try to pass it out for Cam Reddish, who once again has to attempt the buzzer beater, and it is once again no good. A good first half for Cleveland. They know that this game is fairly important. We don't have that much season to go, roughly around 20 games. And if Cleveland wants that 8 seed, this is a game that they really have to win against the Pacers. Offensively, the Cavs are playing solid. Not an elite showing, but the team is shooting the ball well, facilitating excellently. The ball movement in that first half was outstanding. On to the second half, Myles Turner with the slam. Cavs looking good early here in the third quarter, though. They lead at 59-50 as Sexton to the rookie out of Dayton. Obi Toppin on the lob. 50-61 now. Sexton to Drummond to Kevin Porter Jr., who connects from 3. And Cleveland is up by 14 all of a sudden. This is quickly turning into a blowout. Pacers trying to stay alive as TJ Warren gets the dunk. Sexton now joining the dunking fun. Sexton with 3 dunks tonight. You don't normally see that out of him. 56-70. Andre Drummond now with the and one. Goga Bitadze is called for the foul. Cameron Reddish now from deep. And the Cavs are all of a sudden up by 20. They have exploded here these past few minutes in the third quarter. Pacers need a big play as Aaron Holiday steals it from Drummond. Holiday with the layup over Dunn. And it is good, and the Pacers are only down by 20 once again. Goga Bitadze misses, gets his own board. Good play for Bitadze, as it is now 64-82. Look at Cam Reddish going inside. This is why the Hawks picked him 10th overall, and this is why the Cavs felt it was worth it to take a shot on him. Myles Turner with the and one, a 3-throw away from the very nice 69-point total. Now it's 71-86, right at the end of the quarter. Chris Dunn trying to heave it up. It is no good. A very good quarter of basketball, though, from your Cleveland Cavaliers. They now lead it by 15 points as we advance to the fourth quarter. Cavs going to try to hold on. Jeremy Grant going to open up the quarter with a two-handed slam. Now only about 5 minutes left. Cavs still up by a comfortable 13 as Brogdon to Myles Turner, and that will cut the lead down to 10. Deep 3 at the top of the key for Turner. Colin Sexton with a nice slam. Sexton has been a dunking machine tonight. I don't know why, but he's been throwing it down. Andre Drummond now, the big fella, showing off for range. Drummond is slowly but surely developing a little jump shot. Kevin Porter Jr. with a nice and one. Cavs up by 20 as this one looks just about over. Brogdon heaves up a 3 as time pretty much expires. And the Cavs with a statement win over their rival, the Indiana Pacers, 110-91. The ball movement was second to none. Defensively, the Cavs played really well. The Pacers really could not shoot the ball from the perimeter at all today. I think they only made 3 3-point shots. And when these two teams played in an earlier episode this season, Indiana could not miss from 3. I think Oladipo was like 7 for 7 from deep. They did not try to really focus on shooting the ball from 3, and I'm sure they regret it. Their offense was not that good today, to put it lightly. I think like 7 Cavaliers were in the double figures today. Everybody got their chance to score, and everybody shined. Oladipo with 22 points. Myles Turner, the only other player in the double figures. He had 14 and 10. And Indiana just was not good enough tonight. Point blank period. And the Cavs are now a game ahead of them for the 8 seed. However, after doing some simulating, that 8 seed for the Cavs is now in a lot of jeopardy. So we would sim the next 3, losing all 3 of them. Not particularly ideal. And now we are 2 games behind the Orlando Magic for the 8 seed. We are 26-37. They are 28-35. We only have 19 games left to go. If we want to get this playoff spot, we have to play really good basketball down the stretch. I think we're probably going to have 2 more episodes for the regular season, one of which will have a prospect profile. I'm not really sure which yet. And then once we get to the playoffs, hopefully we make it. If we don't, we get to the offseason. And if we do make it, playoff basketball in year 1. That's pretty exciting. Hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And as always, have a good one. Stay safe. Peace.